Hello, everybody. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Part 1, Chapter 22. The ball was just beginning when Kitty and her mother mounted the grand staircase, brilliantly lighted and adorned with flowers, on which stood powdered lackeys in red livery. From the anteroom, as they were giving the last touches to their toilets before a mirror, they could hear a noise like the humming of a beehive, and the scraping of violins as the orchestra was tuning up for the first waltz. A little old man, who was laboriously arranging his thin white locks at another mirror, and who exhaled a penetrating odor of perfumes, looked at Kitty with admiration. He had climbed the staircase with them and allowed them to pass before him. A beardless young man, such as the old Prince Shtcherbatsky would have reckoned among the simpletons, wearing a very low-cut vest and a white necktie which he adjusted as he walked, bowed to them and then came to ask Kitty for a quadrille. The first dance was already promised to Vronsky, and so she was obliged to content the young man with the second. An officer, buttoning his gloves, was standing near the door of the ballroom. He cast a glance of admiration at Kitty and caressed his mustache. Kitty had been greatly exercised by her toilet, her dress, and all the preparations for this ball, but no one would have imagined such a thing to see her enter the ballroom in her complicated robe of tulle with its rose-colored overdress. She wore her ruches and her laces so easily and naturally that one might almost believe that she had been born in this lace-trimmed ball dress, and with a rose placed on the top of her graceful head. Kitty was looking her prettiest. Her dress was not too tight, her rosettes were just as she liked to have them, and did not pull off. Her rose-colored slippers with her high heels did not pinch her, but were agreeable to her feet. All the buttons on her long gloves, which enveloped and enhanced her beauty of her hands, fastened easily and did not tear. The black velvet ribbon attached to a medallion was thrown daintily about her neck. This ribbon was charming, and at home, as she saw it in her mirror adorning her neck, Kitty felt that this ribbon spoke. Everything else might be dubious, but this ribbon was charming. Kitty smiled, even there at the ball, as she saw it in the mirror. As she saw her shoulders and her arms, Kitty felt a sensation of marble coolness which pleased her. Her eyes shone, and her rosy lips could not refrain from smiling with the consciousness of how charming she was. She had scarcely entered the ballroom and joined a group of ladies covered in tulle, ribbons, lace, and flowers, who were waiting for partners. Kitty did not belong to the number. When she was invited to waltz with the best dancer, the principal cavalier in the whole hierarchy of the ballroom, the celebrated leader of the mazurka, the master of ceremonies, the handsome, elegant Yegorushka Korsunsky, a married man, he had just left the Countess Benina, with whom he opened the ball. And as soon as he perceived Kitty, he made his way to her in that easy manner peculiar to leaders of the mazurka, and without even asking her permission, put his arm around the young girl's slender waist. She looked for someone to whom to confide her fan, and the mistress of the mansion, smiling upon her, took charge of it. "How good of you to come early," said Korsunsky. "I don't like the fashion of being late." Kitty placed her left hand on her partner's shoulder, and her little feet, shod in rose-colored bashmuks, glided lightly and rhythmically over the polished floor. "It is restful to dance with you," said he, as he fell into the slow measures of the waltz. "Charming! Such lightness! Such precision!" This is what he said to almost all his dancing acquaintances. Kitty smiled at this eulogium, and continued to study the ballroom across her partner's shoulder. This was not her first appearance in society, and she did not confound all faces in one magic sensation, nor was she so surfeited with balls as to know everyone present and be tired of seeing them. She noticed a group that had gathered in the left-hand corner of the ballroom, composed of the very flowers of society. there was Korsunsky's wife, Liddy, a beauty of outrageously low-cut corsage. There was the mistress of the mansion. There was Kriven, with shiny bald head, who was always to be seen where the cream of society was gathered. There was also gathered the young men looking on and not venturing upon the floor. Her eyes fell upon Stiva, and then she saw Anna's elegant figure dressed in black velvet, and he was there. Kitty had not seen him since the evening when she refused Levin. Kitty discovered him from afar and saw that he was looking at her. "Shall we have one more turn? You're not fatigued?" asked Korsunsky, slightly out of breath. "No, thank you. Where shall I leave you?" "I think Madame Karenina is here. Take me to her." "Anywhere that you please." And Korsunsky, still waltzing with Kitty, but with a slower step, made his way toward the group on the left, saying as he went, "Pardon, mesdames, pardon, mesdames," and steering skillfully through the sea of laces, tulle, and ribbons, placed her in a chair after a final turn which gave a glimpse of dainty blue stockings, and threw her train over Kriven's knee, half burying him under a cloud of tulle. Korsunsky bowed, then straightened himself up, and offered Kitty his arm to conduct her to Anna Arkadyevna. Kitty, blushing a little, freed Kriven from the folds of her train, and, just a trifle dizzy, went in search of Madame Karenina. Anna was not dressed in violet, as Kitty had hoped, but in a low-cut black velvet gown, which showed her ivory shoulders, her beautiful round arms, and her dainty wrists. Her robe was adorned with Venetian guipure. On her head, gracefully set on her dark locks, was a wreath of mignonette, and a similar bouquet was fastened in her breast with a black ribbon. Her hair was dressed very simply. There was nothing remarkable about it, except the abundance of little natural curls which strayed in fascinating disorder about her neck and temples. She wore a string of pearls about her firm, round throat. Kitty had seen Anna every day, and was delighted with her, but now that she saw her dressed in black instead of the violet which she had expected, she thought that she never before had appreciated her full beauty. She saw her in a new and unexpected light. She confessed that violet would not have been becoming to her, but that her charm consisted entirely in her independence of toilet, that her toilet was only an accessory, and her black robe, showing her splendid shoulders, was only the frame in which she appeared simple, natural, elegant, and at the same time full of gaiety and animation. When Kitty joined her, she was standing in her usual erect attitude, talking with the master of the house, her head lightly bent towards him. "No, I would not cast the first stone," she was saying to him, and then, perceiving Kitty, she received her with an affectionate and reassuring smile. With a quick, comprehensive glance, she approved of the young girl's toilet, and gave her an appreciative nod, which Kitty understood. "You even dance into the ballroom," she said. "She is the most indefatigable of my aides," said Korsunsky, addressing Anna Arkadyevna. "The princess makes any ballroom gay and delightful." "Anna Arkadyevna, will you take a turn?" he asked with a bow. "Ah, you are acquainted," said the host. "Who is it we don't know, my wife and I? We are like white wolves. Everybody knows us," replied Korsunsky. "A little waltz, Anna Arkadyevna." "I don't dance when I can help it," she replied. "But you can't help it tonight," said Korsunsky. At this moment Vronsky joined them. "No, if I can't help dancing, let us dance," said she, placing her hand on Korsunsky's shoulder, and not replying to Vronsky's salutation. "Why is she vexed with him?" thought Kitty, noticing that Anna purposely paid no attention to Vronsky's bow. Vronsky joined Kitty, reminded her that she was engaged to him for the first quadrille, and expressed regret that he had not seen her for so long. Kitty, while she was looking with admiration at Anna and the mazes of the waltz, listened to Vronsky. She expected that he would invite her, but he did nothing of the sort, and she looked at him with astonishment. He blushed, and with some precipitation suggested that they should waltz, but they had scarcely taken the first step when suddenly the music stopped. Kitty looked into his face, which was close to her own, and for many a long day, even after years had passed, the loving look which she gave him, and which he did not return, tore her heart with cruel shame. "Pardon, pardon, a waltz," cried Korsunsky at the other end of the ballroom, and seizing the first young lady at hand, he began to once more dance.